Hi, Guido. How are you? Hola.
How are you, Arundhati? How good to see you from so long at
I
this time,
know.
so many years. Incredible.
So good to see you. Well, months. I mean, yes, it's gone by really quickly, and then we had that post-pandemic podcast, which was fun, and it's always exciting to get into conversations with you. So super excited to bring you here today, and on another episode of Leading by Association. Have been wanting to bring you here for a while, since we did that radio show, but I wanted to. You are in a very important position. You are leading an association in Ecuador for small grocery stores, and I thought it would be very fitting for you to come on here and share some insights specifically around, the Latin American consumer citizen and behaviors there, and how just your experience building this, but also giving a sense of what do you think are trends in terms of people moving here, moving to North America, US, Canada, and what are they seeing the role of US and Canada in the markets that you are that you are working in, and the members that you are serving. How do they see these bigger grocery stores, or I'd love to learn a little bit more. So wonderful. So you are the
Yeah,
president and founder of RET, I believe. Can you tell us a
right.
little bit more about what RET is, and how you've
Well,
founded it?
Red is translated. I'm sorry, but it will be in Asociación Red Ecuatoriana de Tenderos, which means as you said, a small grocery store from Ecuador. We are about 22,000 members at this time. Uh, we are part from the Latin American Association for Small Grocery Stores, and we made part of this great confederation, we call it, and it's about we represent more than 2 million small grocery stores in from Colombia to Uruguay. So it's like most of the South America from Colombia down is almost 7 countries. So we are emerged of this, and this is important, and because in South America, the small grocery stores are like the main way to sell for the CPGs. Okay, so in mass consumption products, the small grocery stores is where the Latin American homes decide what we will eat for breakfast, lunch, or dinner time. So it's very important, and we are experimenting many changes at this time in the region, with something that start in Colombia, where it's like actually starts in Germany. There's one is hard discount, and this hard discount model was taken into Colombian market. I don't know more about maybe from 8 years, from 5 to 8 years ago, started in Colombia, was very successful because this way of commercialize is go with very small prices with white label brands from this own small hard discount companies, and this the strategy is very difficult and impact a lot to the small grocery stores. And this start happening in Colombia, then jump to Peru, and it's running in Mexico, and it's running now in Ecuador. From since the pandemic, uh, they start growing very fast. And what is different in Ecuador that from other countries is like in Colombia it takes like more or less 5 years to get that the place that we are now in Ecuador in only 2 or 3 years. So this is changing a lot, because it's very difficult uh, let's explain to our uh, to all your community what is the difference in South America. Uh, Here, the small grocery stores are, or in North America, I think they call them in the US small mom and pops, correct? I believe it's like the name they call it, the small grocery stores. And usually it's a family that work in this is selling products from, I don't know, tuna, I don't know, bread, milk, um and that's like a very limited, like a very small supermarket, right? A mini market we call it here, but it's a small one, mini market. And this is like a way of living for, at least in Ecuador, around 140,000 families that live directly from this kind of business. And the problem with this hard discount model, it is very aggressive because it changed the way of consumption from the population. It's not killing all, but it's very hard. It's very hard to compete when one of these models, which is about, there are stores from 300 square meters, more or less, um, and usually a small grocery store is about 20 square meters, right? So it's like a very small one with something that is, I don't know, 100 times bigger. And what happened is like this model sells under the regular prices. A tuna can, it could cost, like an example to make it easy, $1. They can sell it maybe 20% off the regular price. And that is usually the gross margin for the small grocery store. So it's almost impossible to compete with this. But this is not a problem only for small grocery stores. Actually, at this time, we estimate that perhaps in the next few years, between 15 to 20% of the small grocery stores in Ecuador will disappear because of this model, because it's very difficult. When you open one of these, the incidence of the market that affects is like 3 blocks from where this store is. So any store from 3 blocks near this hard discount will die because most of the customers will attend to them, and this affects the number of clients that visit the small grocery stores. And the business of the small grocery store is not a margin sale, it's a volume sale. So we need a lot of clients getting into that door every single day to make this um, a liable business. And actually, it's like survival business, and that is because in South America, well, at least in Ecuador, and it's very common in all South America, there's no so much employment, like regular or formal employment. So the people has to make their own. It's like we call it self-employment, right? So I lost my job. I don't have what to do. I don't know what I have to what I can do. I cannot find a job. So actually, most of the people owner of a small grocery store start their business when they are around their 40s, their 40s. So you don't have a job, you open in your home and you start selling this kind of stuff for your neighbors. When you open something like that, it affects your sales, and in that way, this is very social problem because if 20% of the small grocery store in Ecuador, if we are talking about 20,000 of these small grocery stores, lost their way of income, is is not 20,000 people, is 4 times that because it's a home. It's a home of 4 persons at least in at least here in South America. So mother, father, and 2 children is the average. How much it will affect the society, the economy is very difficult. It's very difficult to trying to find or to switch to another kind of way of living. Actually, because this was a survival business, so this is a very economical situation. We are a lot of concern as association. We are talking. It's not. This is very important to let you know that what is affected is not only the small grocery store. The CPG are affected too, because the way of this business work is that in the first stage they ask the different companies to say, okay, I need this tuna can. Can you make it for me? I need this huge volume. Can you fabricate it for us? They say, no, I can't. at that price. We can, if one CPG don't want, perhaps the competition will. And they don't give the companies either like a long-term contract. They say like, okay, I value this, and from 1 year we will talk and we will negotiate again, maybe more volume, but with a lower price. And because it's my brand, it's a white brand, you lost the market. And if this is running for enough time, it will be a moment in where this hard discount model will try to buy your fabric, your company. It's a business that is uh, selling very low with very small margins. But what I'm looking for is to kill the small grocery stores, and that will happen in, I don't know, maybe in 3 4 years, who knows? From that point far, they will have the whole market, or will have the maybe 20 30% of the market, and that will affect the model of negotiation with the vendors and with the society in a common. So this is something that is happening right now in Ecuador. It already happened in Colombia, already happened in Peru, and it's started happening. Well, in Mexico, it's happening too, and in all the region. This model is very aggressive. In South America, in Central America, is happening too. So what this is what we're expecting, and what is happening. A discussion at this time is if you're talking with the companies that fabricate this kind of products, they are very concerned too. Uh, but it's very interesting to realize that because of the how the competition is so hard between these vendors, it's very difficult to make a statement and say like, okay, I will not sell you at that price. And anyway, it's something that is happening. It's a trend, and we are trying to figure out how we can solve this, or how actually we cannot fight with this. We at least can try to make a fair trade and try to establish some kind of boundaries, or at least prepare our small members to understand how this business work, and understand how they have to uh, change the way you're making the business. Try to look for innovation, look for a better customer service for guests, or looking for easy ways of payment, or we have to evolve, we have to change because the things are changing very fast, and that's our main concern at this time in the association.
Hmm.
Well, one of them.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Thank you. And right now, as you mentioned, Ecuador is gripped by the worst drought ever in 61 years, and you're talking about this energy crisis. And how are your members dealing with all this? And what is your thought?
That's another problem. It's like I don't know, like the cherry in the on the top. um, let's say that from since the COVID, the business start changing because of this competition. Now we have these issues about, for example, today we're having blackouts for about 4 hours in the morning, and in the evening more 4 hours, like 8 hours, from 7 to 8 hours without lights. So can you imagine how difficult it is try to sell? Because we're small, mostly grocery stores. We're still open. We have issues with the refrigerators. No, they're trying to keep the. But some of them, when they are buying small generators with diesel or gasoline in order to keep their equipment running, and this is very difficult. And it's not the only thing. From the beginning of this year, in January, Ecuador and South America in general, but Ecuador especially, is having problems with security a lot. problems with it. I don't know if you heard it. Tren Aragua, people came in from other countries in South America. Bad people. It's not most of them, but unfortunately, there's a few kind that make a lot of damage, and they are going to the small stores and asking for money. If they don't pay, they will burn or they will kill the owner. So that's something that is affecting a lot the security. And when you're asking me few moments ago about how this can affect or how we can see North America or Canada, well, let me know. Let me tell you that we're starting to see a lot of people escaping from the insecurity, and there's a lot of people trying to go to other countries, and it's not South American countries, it's first world countries like USA, especially. There's a very huge community in New York, actually. Just like we say, like in New York, on New Jersey, I believe, lives like the third biggest, no, the second, no, the third biggest city from Ecuador, because how many citizens, so how many Ecuadorians are living abroad. So that will affect for sure. And at this time, we are planning to look for something to make a change of seeing things between CPGs, our vendors, and our customers. How we can plan and try to do something to not only start to like in the short time it's like to look in the middle and the long time. How can we make the survival of the small grocery stores be able, because we need it and we don't want to the people go abroad. We want the people stay here, and we want to prepare them in order to um, can face the best way while we are living at this time. So it's a difficult time, but in South America, everything is difficult. We are used to it. It's like more of the same. It's not something that we are proud of it, but we are used to it. And we are fighting with this, with looking for the public sector to let them know how difficult this situation is, and trying to with the private companies, the CPGs, especially the banking and so on, and try to look for a strategy to maintain the way of living of more than 100,000 families that live directly from this.
Hmm. Do you see there is an opportunity here for international companies coming? I mean, you talked about it difficult, you're talking about mixed growth as well, but I mean that there are several. You also have these digital divides, but also there's some, investment in green in green projects. But I guess how do you think that international companies are wanting to enter the Latin American market? Are you dealing with any of those through your association, or what are some challenges or successes you might be seeing?
Well, at this time, the things in Ecuador particularly are quite difficult. There's no so many investment coming to Ecuador, especially, but not to South America. In Colombia, well, at this time, because of the government of Ecuador, from Colombia, I'm sorry, it's not very well seen from abroad either. And so I was like, I don't know, a month ago in Colombia, in Bogota, and we were talking about actually from this point, and what I was saying is like we are not getting so many investment that we used to it because of this government, and that's important because that's something that in Ecuador we're used to it because we have many political issues. We have like changing presidents very frequent. It's not so good, and because of that, we lost a lot of investment. And from first time in, I don't know, 50 or 60 years, Colombia is dealing with the same because that government is in a position from abroad. They don't see it like their investment is have credential or their investment have the possibility to don't lose their investment if they go to Colombia. And I believe that that's a very important issue that many society don't understand that this is really a problem, and you need to concern about this because it will affect their economy. In Ecuador, we're used to it, but in Colombia, the first time in 50 years. So it's amazing because I already we forgot that what was such a main problem. In Ecuador, we have it. We change it. We are another government. We will have a new president in April of next year. That thing are affecting the investment and the way that the companies, the CPGs or any company try to invest. Ecuador, there's a lot of things to do in Ecuador. It's one of the South American economies that is our currency is the US dollar. So that's very good, but we're small. We're a small country of 17 millions only, and we are between Peru with almost 40 millions and Colombia with almost 45 million people. So we are not so well seen, maybe not so interesting, but we are seeing a lot of investment from Amazon, for example, in South America. We saw them in Chile. We start seeing them very near from here in Peru, in Colombia, and that is changing everything because from South America that we are used to it to go and start doing it's like the future, something that we saw like maybe in 10 years or in 15 years. Well, finally it's here. It's changing the way we used to do it, the things. So at this time we're in a situation, I believe South America in general is start to dealing with these changes of big platforms and the digital world that is coming to make business here and get new products new service. So we have all the society in South America start changing very fast and embrace technology in order to keep in the game, right?
Yeah, and I know have just a few minutes, but I want to understand what are some reasons that that members they stay loyal to two brands. Like, what are some Ecuadorian values or some maybe greater Latin American values that that your local grocery stores, because it sounds like your members customers prefer local more than global. So, what are some values that they need to that they need to keep in mind when as consumers are changing, maybe post pandemic or even otherwise?
Well, this is it's not only well, it's not pandemics only. The open of this hard discount is changing the way of buying. Now the people is not only going to the big supermarket and then to the small grocery stores. Now they have something in the middle. This is the hard discount. So the biggest um, advantage that has the small grocery stores is how close they are from their homes, from their neighbors, and the familiarity, the knowledge from their neighborhood is something that I believe, and we believe it could be a game changer. In South America, we have like a block, block with four streets in every. In average, we have one small grocery store in every corner of that block. So that's important. That huge importance has the small grocery stores. So that's something that you have to start changing. Start looking for a better way of. Um, we believe two things. You have an advantage because you know your neighbor better than any big company. Second, you are the owner of that business. So I suppose that you have offer a much better client service. And third, you have to start looking for innovation in the products you are selling. And finally, start to learn from these big supermarkets the way they are doing the things. and start to trying to tropicalize those kind of those kind of knowledge to your small grocery store. So that's the work we are doing as association. We are very focused at this time to look for education in order to help them to open their eyes and start seeing the battlefield and see and understand their enemy and how they have to prepare in order to survive. So that's, for example, what we are doing now.
Yeah, and you're talking about innovation. Are they leveraging technology, and should they be leveraging it in any other way, or are there other ways of innovation that you think are not yet fully utilized?
Unfortunately, we are not. Most of the small grocery store are not adopting fast enough the technology. Um, it's this, it's something like everything is changing so so slowly, and when they get used to it they don't understand how difficult they believe they can fight this because we don't they don't it's so difficult to have a small grocery store because you have to work from, let's say, 5 a.m. until 9 p.m. So it's all day. It's more than 14, 15, 16 hours of work with all the family working, the mom, the father, the grandmother, the child, more or less, the adolescents, everybody attending the small grocery store. And because of that, they don't have many time to look for education. But anyway, we are making events. We are making virtual capacitations. We are working with the universities in order to bring them to get and close them to this knowledge. We are working with the CPGs, trying to look for scholarships for many thousands of grocery stores. So that's what at least we can do. And of course, the other thing we are doing as association is talking to the government too, to let them know the problem with the labor, because we're not against the competition, but it's true that it's very difficult to fight against these very low prices, and we need some kind of help, investment. Um, I don't know, but at least we need education. So we are working on that very hard, looking for actually looking for investment in order to this try to make it more available for much more people. Anyway, in the region, not only in Ecuador, we are working with this confederation to work on that.
So big thank you for joining us today, and I'm sure we have some wonderful words that people are going to be eager to hear about, your association and your plans. And I'm sure we'll have another episode another time. So thank you for sharing your thoughts about the Latin American marketplace, your association RET, and all the amazing work that you're doing to keep your members informed, educated, and prepared for the future. This
No, that's amazing. And we are laughing because for sure we can be talking for hours and hours. And it's like, what, only 30 minutes? Yeah, we have to. I believe
yes, I,
that I believe that last time we talked like 2 hours, I guess.
no,
But
3 hours, 4 hours. I don't remember, but we
yeah,
we talked a lot.
but the good thing about this is like this will continue. We hope
Yes.
so, for sure. We need to talk about many things. So thank you very much for the invitation. And if anybody has a concern and a question, make free to contact us in our webpage or in our social media um, platforms.
All right. Thank you very much, Guido. Have a nice evening.